Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So, last week we talked about how I transitioned, and y'all got to see some pictures of me looking busted while I talked to you guys about my transitioning journey. And of course, the natural progression of all of this is to give you guys my best tips for transitioning. So I have my top 5 tips for transitioning to natural hair, whether you're transitioning from relaxer or heat damage. All of these things are important and all of these things are imperative, especially if you have no clue what to do with your natural hair. So, if you're interested in hearing my top 5 tips for transitioning, then just keep watching. So, tip number 5, start small. And I believe this in most of my life. Some things you really can go big or go home, and there are other things where you really should not be doing that. And when I say start small, I'm talking products, okay? Especially with YouTubers like myself, I know that I contribute to this culture, but we have a culture of stuff. We have a lot of stuff. We're very big on being product junkies, on having a stash, and that is great at a certain point. But if you're transitioning, you do not need to have a giant stash. Like I said in my last video, I highly suggest that you kind of start one at a time. What are the things that you need? Shampoo, conditioner, maybe a deep conditioner if you have the time to deep condition, and a moisturizer. You can get by with those few things and have a successful journey. If you're buying 10,000 products to put in your hair and switching them up every day, if something messes up your hair, one, you're not going to be able to tell what it is, but you're never really going to be able to see the full benefit of that product. And so using something one at a time, maybe finish out your shampoo and conditioner, and if you felt like they weren't doing it for you, try something else when you finish them. Or especially with stylers and moisturizers, I feel like that's where that really, really comes in. When you're transitioning, you do not need like 10 to 15 different stylers, and you do not need 10 to 15 different moisturizers. You need to start with one, and then as you figure out what you like about that one moisturizer or styler and what you don't like about it, then move on to that. I highly suggest journaling, finding a place to write down all the things that are happening to your hair. So if you're having a setback, you can kind of pinpoint where that setback happened. If you are not liking a product, then you can write down all the things you don't like about that product. And then that allows you to go into the store and buy products that are marketed to do the opposite things, or marketed to do the things that you want them to do. That goes right into my next tip number 4. And that is shopping for your hair needs, not your hair type. Now, I know y'all are probably saying, Bree, you don't get to preach about this because you have type 3 hair. Y'all, I have helped several friends transition, friends of friends and all that stuff. And it all kind of comes down to the same thing: is what is your hair feeling? And a big reason why I say this is because a lot of people that are shopping specifically for their hair type are looking for things to give them something that their hair is not going to look like. So a lot of people go into this idea that if a product works, that means it's going to make you look like somebody that has 3C hair or 3A hair. And that's not true. The sign of a product working is how it feels in your hair. What does it feel like? Is it coating your strands? Is it sitting on top of your strands? Is it actually moisturizing anything? Does your hair look dry and dusty when it dries? These are the things that you need to pay attention to. So, are you looking for maximum moisture? Are you looking for maximum hydration? Are you looking for something that is going to give you a silkier feel? Are you looking for something that's going to give you a lot of shine? Are you looking for something that's going to help thicken your hair? These are all things that matter when you're shopping for products. And the reality is that products aren't formulated for hair type. We've been using products for years without knowing what our hair type was. And so why should any of that change? It shouldn't, because it hasn't. What does your hair need? How does your hair take in moisture? Those are the things that you need to focus on when buying your products, because that's what's going to help you determine what is working, what isn't, and what your preferences are. We all have preferences and how our hair looks and how our hair feels. And there are some things that I try on this channel that y'all think look great in my hair, and I don't like how it feels. And so I don't pull those products back out because they're my preference. And so those are the things that you need to consider. Shop for your hair needs. Shop for your personal preferences. But your hair type is only going to tell you so much, okay, when it comes to buying products. And so shopping for your hair needs is super duper important, because if you're only shopping with your hair type in mind and you're not thinking about what your hair is telling you it needs, then you're still ignoring the core issue. And maybe even if that product does say it's formulated for type 4 hair, it may not be as moisturizing as the next product that you just let slide out of the way, and you're depriving yourself of something that could be even better than that thing that is using baseless marketing. So always consider that when you're purchasing products. Buy for your hair needs, and you will start to see what your hair is liking and what your hair is not, and you can adjust from there. This is something that really, really, really helped me. Pick a style and stick to it. Now, I know we have a lot of people in, just the natural hair community, and just black ladies in general. We like to do all sorts of stuff with our hair, okay? Me personally, I'm kind of a boring Betty when it comes to my hair. I don't really like to do a lot of different things to my hair, and a lot of people aren't like this. And so I have a lot of people coming to me and they tell me, well, like, I can't do wash and goes like you because, my hair doesn't do this and my hair doesn't do that. And I'm like, well, how much do you do other things? And this is important because how you style your hair, the styles that you keep your hair in, are going to determine mechanical damage, how your hair takes in water. All of these things are important. So for me, I picked Bantu knots. I found that was the style that my hair kind of held the best in. It was the easiest for me to do. I saw the most difference in my hair when I was doing that style. I think it's very important to do that, especially if you're someone that likes to go from like being natural to doing a protective style and leaving it in for like who knows how long. Or now you want to do Bantu knots. Now you want to do a twist out. Now you want to do this. Now you want to do that. Your hair is never going to get used to doing one thing if you keep doing all these other things. Especially if you're trying to do wash and goes. If you are used to doing twist outs, it's going to take you some time to get used to how your hair takes in water when you are doing a wash and go. If you are doing some type of style where you have to lay that cuticle down and it stays like that, your hair is going to take in water differently. When I do a braid out or a twist out and I go wash my hair out, it takes a while for my hair to curl back up because I've laid that cuticle down. And so it's taking longer for those cuticles to open back up and accept that moisture. And so the first time that I do a wash and go off of having a braid out or a twist out, my hair looks very different. You have to allow yourself to take the time to learn what your hair feels like when you're doing these styles. I'm not saying that you can't do different styles, but pick something. Pick something to learn. Pick something to master. And once you've mastered it and you understand how your hair feels, try something new. That's totally fine. But switching how you do your hair every single week is not only going to keep you from actually learning how your hair feels and what your hair needs, but it's also going to continue to add more mechanical damage. And if you are transitioning, you have that breaking point, that middle point where that relaxed hair meets your natural hair and it's super brittle and you subject yourself to more mechanical damage if you are not making sure that you are actually giving your hair a break. So that is also important. You want to give your hair a break. So pick a style, stick to it, learn it, finesse it, and if you want to move on to something else, you can. But also remember that low manipulation is really important when you're transitioning. So those are all things to keep in mind. That was something that really, really helped me during my transitioning, and I think it can really help a lot of you guys too. This is number 2. Establish a regimen, please. Please establish a regimen. Now, what do I mean when I say a regimen? It's not just what you're putting into your hair, it's what you're doing to your hair and when. So just baseline regimen for me. I style my hair at least twice a week. Unless something happens, my head gets itchy or whatever. Midweek, I co-wash. This allows me to get some water to my scalp. I do find that I need to get actual water, moisture, and clean and somewhat clean hair at least in the middle of the week. That is what helps me. And so I co-wash, And I may deep condition if I feel like I need to, but usually I don't need to when I don't deep condition. And I will do my normal styling. I apply my products in sections, and I apply them in the same way all the time. At the end of the week, I shampoo. And every time that I shampoo, I deep condition it. I deep condition. My hair is ready for that deep conditioning. It's ready to accept that moisture. But I've already taken off all of the dirt and grime and whatever else from whatever product that I was using. So my hair is fresh, it's ready for that deep conditioning, and I do a fresh wash and go. And that is how I do my hair. I usually air dry, and then I will blow dry my roots the next day if my roots have not dried. That's what I mean when I say a regimen. How often are you washing and conditioning your hair? How often are you deep conditioning? Those are things that are important. First of all, it's important because I truly believe that your hair can pretty much adapt to any type of regimen as long as you're consistent. Consistency is key. For example, my brother, he's 16. He pretty much washes his hair like every 2 days. So he washes his hair every 2 days. He conditions his hair every 2 days. He maybe does a deep conditioner once a month. That kid has some of the healthiest hair I've ever seen. Like, his hair is so healthy. Like, I literally get so jealous because he does very little to his hair. And his hair is really happy. But the thing is, he's still implementing the things that I do to my hair. But he loses moisture quicker than I do because he's out in the sun a lot. He runs, he's sweating all the time. So he has to put that moisture back into his hair much quicker than I do. His hair is very different than mine. And so he can do his regimen very differently. That is why I say it's important to establish a regimen, because that way when you establish a regimen, you're already building that into the routine that you already have. You're building it around what you know you can do. And if you're making sure that you do that, then there really shouldn't be any excuse for you not taking care of your hair. And the more you get your hair used to it, the better it works. And that is why when you see me doing my hair, it looks like my hair is so easy to take care of because I do the same thing all the time. And my friends can attest to this. My friends who have known me for years, I have done the exact same regimen for the last about 3 years. I haven't deviated from what I do to my hair, and it makes it so much easier to do my hair because my hair already kind of falls in line and it knows what it's about to get. If I've had a rough week or I use something that my hair didn't agree with, that's another thing. But for the most part, my hair is so easy for me to take care of because I established a regimen that fits well into my routine and allows me to get the best out of my hair. So that is something that you guys really, really need to do. If you have not established a regimen, it does not need to be extensive, but you just need to establish one. A regimen is so, so important to actually maintaining healthy hair so that you can get the best out of your hair, the best out of your style, the best out of what your hair has to offer. All right, guys, the very last one, and this probably sounds cliche AF, but guys, be patient. You have to. Transitioning is not something that happens overnight. No journey happens overnight. And unfortunately, we tend to treat a natural hair journey like it's an actual destination and not a journey. It's always, well, when my hair is this curly, or when my hair is this long, or when my hair does this, or when my hair does that. You have to ride the wave and be patient. Because if you're not patient, what are you going to end up doing? You're probably going to end up damaging your hair because you're going to be frustrated and you're going to be ripping it out. You're probably going to be applying too many different things to your hair. You may be over conditioning it. Or you may just decide to stop taking care of your hair altogether, and then you're going to lose moisture. Your hair is going to break off. You're going to be tired, and who knows, like a lot of people have, you might end up just deciding, I'm tired and I want to go back to relaxer. You cannot have these extremely high expectations and expect them to happen overnight. Transitioning does not happen overnight. Like I said in my last video, it took me 3 years to fully transition. And I had a lot of, I wouldn't say setbacks, but I had a lot of things that happened with my hair that I wasn't really happy with. Like all sorts of different things. I have had times where I have had to cut pieces out of my hair because I wasn't, I wasn't patient, and then I ended up getting my hair so tangled that there was no getting it out, so I've had to snip pieces of my hair off. Just so many different things that can happen in a hair journey, and you have to learn to be patient with yourself. You know, like your hair is a part of you. How you feel about your hair is going to reflect when you actually style your hair, when you're actually taking care of it. And if you are not trying your best to fall 100% in love with your hair, then you're never going to get the best of what your hair can offer you. You're just not, because you're not going to be willing to take the steps to actually learn about your hair, to learn what works for your hair, to do the things that your hair needs you to do in order to have a successful natural hair journey. And so, guys, patience is so, so, so key. And I know a lot of people say this, but it really is. Your hair is always changing anyway. Like, there is no point where your hair will be the length that you want it to be and everything is just easier. You know, like there's no such thing. Like, there are certain things that you can do to make taking care of your hair easier, but there's never going to be a point where you are going to reach one single point in your hair journey and everything just falls into place and everything's perfect. I notice something different about my hair every year, whether it's the length, where I move and the water's different, like, or maybe I've been staying outside too long, because you can get heat damage from the sun. You know, there are so many things that change because it's life. Your body's changing as you age, your hair's going to change as you age, and you are always going to have that certain level of patience in order to sit there and process, okay, what's going on with my hair? I have overcome my setbacks because I stepped outside of my upset and my anger, and I just buckled down and fixed it. I'm very much problem solution. I find the problem, I write it down, I figure out what I can do with a solution, and it has always pushed me to the other side of it, and I have gotten through it. I always get through it, and you guys can too, but you just have to have the patience. You have to have the patience with yourself, putting that love and respect into your hair care and treating your hair care journey as really taking care of yourself. A lot of times we treat our heads of hair like they are just completely different entities, and I treat my hair as if it is me having a me day. It is my me time. This is when I'm taking care of me. It has really helped me put that patience in, taking that time. It's my time and it's nobody else's time but mine. And when you treat it that way, it really, really does help. And so those are my top 5 tips for transitioning. I know that it's never that simple, but I do think that these are tips that you can implement into what you're already doing, whether it be you don't have a regimen, or maybe you started transitioning and you bought too many products and now you're lost. So I feel like all of these can help somebody that is on a transitioning journey, or even just in your regular natural hair life. If you are struggling with your natural hair and you're having a setback, sometimes we just need to go back to basics. Sometimes we're really, really afraid to just go back to the basics. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. A lot of you guys said that you really did want to see this and kind of, you know, hear my thoughts on this. But definitely let me know, like, did you guys transition? What did you do? What are some of your favorite tips that you learned when you did transition, or just tips that you have from being natural in general? We can all teach each other a little bit of something. Thank you guys so, so much for watching and supporting. Please leave me a like, a comment, maybe a little subscription, you know, maybe. But yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.